Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Du nicht machst mir aus ihres Basmodchai. Hayoim Tisha Bar Boim Yoim Shehem Shevuos Shevuos Boimer. A guy comes to me last night. He says that if had I not said this during Shir, he would have missed the last day because he left Ma'ariv early. He's like, whoa, yeah. Everybody, so we have a Givaldic Shir today. I mean, the Shir itself is not so great. The Daf is amazing. It's going to be very, very geschmack. And I want to remind the Olam that tonight at 12 a.m., Shir on Daf Amud Beis right here in the Beis Medrash. Don't feel that you have to come. The same exact Shir is going to be Motzei Yontef, typical time, 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. And Motzei Yontef, typical times. So 10 p.m. for English, 11 o'clock for Hebrew. The Beis Medrash was packed, both shiurim last night. Avi came a few minutes late and the seat was gone. There was no seats. And people were here till 12:10. The shir finished 12:10. They sit here as if nothing. It's the middle of the day. It's gewaldig. It's a big chizuk. Here's a picture that Mati Belsky just sent me this morning. He says apparently he was learning on the safari. They were talking and learning. Yeah. But the reason why I'm showing this is because Mati Belsky just donated $10,000 towards the new Gemaras of Avodah Zarah. We're still looking. Hebrew, we already have 600 Gemaras out of 800 Gemaras. It went up 200 since last night. No? So that's it. Okay, the last 200. We're looking for 1,000 Gemaras in Hebrew and at least 1,000 in English. And Be'ezer Hashem, we're on our way. It's only about 18 days from now. And I looked over the Masechta real quickly on Shabbos. It's Givaldic, 4 or 5 daf of Agad to start off with, and it just gets better and better. Haribeli, you should be getting blowback by Lubavitches that don't know you and didn't hear 2 seconds before the video, or the tens of times you've spoken highly of Lubavitch. It was a funny video, and that's it. A guy comes here every Friday with at least one of his sons, all the way from Beersheba, Lubavitcher, and he said he loved it. It was mamish Givaldic. So from a Lubavitcher who has been learning with you for a few months now, we very much appreciate you, Noach Horowitz. Dr. Sean Sachs and Ambassador Morty Maman, had an idea to set up a viewing of the Shir Manchester to bring the Chaver together and promote the Shir. All welcome. Please can you show the poster wishing you and all the Chaver good Yontif from Shimi Leafman. So this is on Wednesday. I'm going to read from the bottom over here. It's another one. I read one of these on Friday. I'm really proud of myself, says this kid. This was hard. There are a lot of days that I don't want to do it, and I push myself. I did it so my Abba's neshama should have an aliyah. So I did it even when I was tired. I've never done something that took so much effort before. I'm glad I did it. Everyone is really proud of me. Ari Topaz. Then the top part is his mother. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm not sure how. I think this was too official. This was written to official. I'm not sure how I would have been able to motivate Ari to take on such a big undertaking and know that he could succeed with it. As his mother, it really means a lot to me. I've seen him doing this late at night after Shabbat while driving on the turnpike. The cartoons kept him engaged. Having to post something that he learned made him stop to write down facts. Official says you want the money, you have to write Ara on every daf. Posting that he learned made him stop to write the facts while he was learning and stop to call uncles when he didn't understand something. It really taught him so many skills. You hear this? A Yosem has to call his uncle. He can't ask his father. He's almost exactly a year away from his bar mitzvah. And him learning that he can take on bigger things as he gets older is amazing. Thank you again, Mrs. Rosenblum Topaz. The Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous, Hatzlacha, bruchnius of Gashmius. Monthly sponsors, Parnasa, Birevach, for Baruch, Tzvi, Nissim, Shoshana, Leah, ActualEyes in honor of Duvie, Merkin of Eastern Union, and all the Silver Spring daffers. Eli Dyckman for the Refuah sheleimah of Tinok ben Rifka. Weekly sponsors, Eli Ashir, Refuah sheleimah for Moshe ben Nitza. Lakewood Central, New Jersey, MDY family, Leah Habacher, David, Yitzchok, Handler, Olav Shalom, Ben Yibal Chaim, Toivim, Reb Moshe, son of our dear friend and fellow Lakewood MDY. I'm sure Reb Moshe is going to have a shayla. He's going to have to ask the Rav if he's allowed to come to the Shabbaton. He was there 2 years in a row, and I'm sure he's going to want to come again. And well, I guess he's a father. Yeah, I guess you're right. Leah Habacher, Chaim, Zeligariye, Beryl. Olav Shalom. And a Bacher Fall Faham Olav Shalom. Anonymous, another Mark Ashkenazi. I wanted to donate Gemaras, but this is the first link I see. Daily sponsors Benyamin Hekmati. Leadership, my daughter. Emunah Rifka Bat Benyamin on her second yard side at only 20. Neshama should have an Aliyah. Ira Greenstein, Lila Ishmas, my grandfather, Tzvi Hirsch, Ben Menashe Simcha Friedman, Zechat Tzaddik Lebracha. Eli Epstein, the Nishmas Imi Mirasi, Michla Rus, Basachavar Yontav Aleh Shalom. It's my mother's, I don't know, it was supposed to be her birthday, right? Because her name is Rus plus Mordechai. She was born right around Shevuos. I think a date, I don't remember exactly. Yechiel Levin, the Nishmas Imi Mirasi, Morris Edel Chaya Basrib Tzvi Hirsch Akoyen, Cindy Levine, her 14th yard side on Shevuos. And the white kids, Innovations, Chus Official, Chonon Kiva, Rifka, Mrs. Stefansky, Art of the Month. For sheleimah, for Yonatan Eitan Ben Bashav Bracha, we had the schos. He came last night to the shir. He sat right over here. For schos, for Belly, and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. In honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Aboisai, here we go. I have a shayla for the oilam. It's not the hardest one. Last night, most people got it right. I'm assuming that you guys also. Somebody lent somebody $100. But he's a liar. He's a ganav. When he comes to take the money back, he tells the guy, you owe me $200. So there's two options. The guy who owes the money could say the truth. He says, okay, yeah, I owe you 100. I only owe you 100. But then what's going to happen? He's a moed mixas. He's going to have to make a shvuah. Or he's going to say to himself, listen, this guy's a liar. He's a liar. You gotta act with a liar like a liar. He's lying to me, I'm gonna lie right back to him. I don't owe you anything. And then as soon as I'm gonna give him $100 and put it in his mailbox and I'll pay him back. Why should I have to be chayav a shvu of moedim mikzas? What's the halacha, Rabbi Isai? Which one does he have to do? Does he have to say the truth? Or you treat a shakran like a shakran? Rabbi David, what do you say?
The way he's gonna take a shvuas hesses. How's he going to take a shvuah l'sheker?
Yes or no? Yes or no? What does he do?
He can't take a shvuah l'sheker.
So he has to say the truth? Say the truth. Say the truth. Anybody else? I told you, the Israelis are better. The Israelis are...
You treat him like a liar.
You treat him like a liar. Oh, finally somebody's saying the...
Similar to, what do you call it? Similar to Yitzchok and Yaakov. We came to, what do you call it?
Achevani
Beremos. Oh, you hear that? Achevani Beremos. No?
We want to avoid using Hashem's name.
In vain, so you should lie. I fooled you. No, the first guys were right.
Okay.
Guys, don't fall for my shtick. I should be over. I'm over with Bashek Tirchak. We're going to learn from the sugya. I was thinking, as I was learning it, I was like, sometimes you don't need the Musar, you just read the Gemara, and it seeps into the head. You start learning Musagim, like you look at life a little differently. Me personally, if somebody came to me and lied, I'd be so upset. I'd lie right back. I'd do it. Like, you're gone. I'm not going to deal with you. I'm going to act to you the way you act with me. No. You got to be careful. So let's see. Says the Gemara, Simon, Sanegar, we are 6 lines from the bottom of Lamed. Lamed Amud Beis. Simon Sanegar Bur, Zelas Mirma, Tonarabana. Mamash, easy Gemara, flows very nicely with a nice little sugi in the middle. But the small sugi is Tonarabana. Menayin L'dayin Shlo Yosef Sanegarin L'dvarav. So what does that mean? So says Rashi, you have this a lot. I have it. I bump into this occasionally in the koilel. sometimes you get a guy good. You know, you ask him a good kasha and he doesn't really know. So what does he do? He's like your Rebbe in Cheder. You know, the kid gets him good. So what's a typical knee-jerk response? You start fumping this and that, and no, you start. Says Rashi, "Don din v'liboy noikfay loymar shutoya." He chaps in the middle that he's making a mistake. Lo yachzik dvarav lahavi rayis lamidon shuboish lachzor. You can't start bringing rayis to your shtos. You know that you're lying. You know that you're off in the pshat, and you're really good. You could bring from here and there, and the other guy's not going to chap. You're going to start draining him a cup. You know, you have to go back and say, Rabbi, I made a mistake. Like the famous story with Reb Shol Salanter. He's in the middle of a speech. And Reb Shol Salanter say this again and again, even though he's famous for his musar, what he's not so famous for is the Gala Dar and learning. He was like considered the Lamdan of the Dar. He was being a good, Givaldic speech and learning. And a guy asked him a kasha middle. And he says, oh, and he walked right off the stage. And he said afterwards, he said, I could have answered him 5 different things the guy wouldn't have known. I could have said, no, but there's a Gemara over here, there's like this, you know. He says, emes is emes. And I'm thinking about it, years later, in our generation, hundreds of years later, we remember him as the person who went off the stage and nobody looks at him like, oh, what a fool, in the middle of a speech. Fakert. It's a godless. Had he played that game? Yeah.
I was in a shir in the mirror. And he asked, he said, my shver is coming tomorrow to shir. Everybody be on your best game. So the next day came, I was asking, and he said, in the middle of the shir, he said, and for the only time ever, he said to me, I don't know the answer, in front of his shver. Of course, he could have done exactly the same thing. In front of his shver, he was a little bit, but he did exactly what I was supposed to do.
Okay, I'm going to learn from this Maisa, and from now on, I'm going to be moided to you. I'm going to be moided to you. I always do that. I'm moided on this Gemara when it comes to you. You usually get me, and I'm so embarrassed. I like this time I'm gonna. Okay, that's nice.
Next time we'll tear our page. He does it.
You had to bring that up. Look at him. He's not happy with that. That's not nice. Zog the Gemara. So, Kitzer, b'moidel ha'emes, your Rebbe in Cheder. I heard so many times from a lot of kids that go off the derech. They always say, when I asked my Rebbe a question, I said, what's pshat? And he has a question ashkaf and Emunah. And instead of the Rebbe saying, that's a great question, and I don't know the answer, they say, don't ask such questions, and it turns kids off. I've heard it many, many times. Just say the truth. Say you don't know. Don't start hacking a chinik. Okay? So here's one. We're in a sugya of sheker. Stay away from lying. That's it. You didn't say a lie, but distance yourself. Tirchak, the only time in the Torah it says tirchak. Distance yourself from a lie. Don't put some Amaretz right in front of the Rebbe, because he's going to say things that are not right and it confuse the Rebbe. You should distance yourself from this sheker guy right over here. The Dayan knows that his friend, one of the Dayanim, yeah? He knows very well about the Dayan next to him that took a little bribe the other day, which is kind of common, not common. It happens in our generation, where people could give the bezdin sometimes in different places, different things. You could give them a little money, and all of a sudden the din comes. You know that he did it. One witness knows about the other one. He's a bad guy. He stole money from somebody in the neighborhood. You shouldn't be a partner with him. You have a chiyuv to distance yourself from sheker. I'm just saying, let this seep in, because we all have that friend. We know that person. So what do you do with him? You got to be misrachik from him. A dayan realizes that one of the edim is saying something doesn't shtim, something's not working over here with his testimony. Let them finish up. I'll cut it up via koiler toli b'tzavar ha'edim. I know if it's true. I once read that the reason why a lot of people, Litvaks, wear ties is because there's a guy that once he had a noose around his neck, and the king or something, I forgot, he said, okay, let him go. But as a simon that he had to wear the noose around his neck, him and his sons. And eventually it developed like they made it a little nicer. I don't know if it's true. Stama Maisa, Baba Maisa? We got to look it up. Okay? So what? The case is that instead of waiting all the way to the end and then say, oh, we found Adam, right away, cut. You know that something's wrong here with the testimony in middle. Don't let it continue.
He doesn't know what to do to slug it up. That's the
right. He smells that there's something wrong here. He realizes that he can't prove it 100%, but he sees from within the words of the Adam that he's off. So just stop it. Simit loso talmid utlaz belichoy smartut shemei umatim. We continue with this theme. You're a student, you're a nobody compared to your Rebbe, you're in awe of your Rebbe, but you're able to say something against the rich guy for the poor guy. Obviously the opposite as well. However, the most extreme case is the guy you're scared of. You have Bill Gates sitting there, you're going to see what? You're going to throw something out to throw Bill Gates under the bus? And this Nebuch, this peasant, huh? No. It's chayv, it's bad for the usher. Bad. You know something bad. You have to speak up. You're sheval taisi, you're not doing it, you're closing your mouth. That's also, it's a sheker. I heard a moiri the kemaisa. The guy comes to Reb Chaim Kanevsky, he says his kid is off the derech, he's going off the derech, what should he do? Reb Chaim says, learn this masechta. As he's walking out, so one of the guys there says, listen, tremendous eitzah. Every day, whenever you can, express your love to your son. Tell him how much you love him. Be'ez Hashem, one day he'll come back. He says, how can I tell him I love him? With sheker tirchak. I have to be makpid on sheker. Minayin l'talmid sheroyes rabbi shetoye badin. He's machmer. Rabbi said, don't take this literally. I mean, take it literally, but don't be a meshugana. You have to. I learned in the Gemara, but that sheker tirchak. You got to tell the wife what you think, otherwise it's mama sheker. No. Sometimes use your seichel.
Why it says tirchak, not like the sheker, because Duvie you have to lie sometimes. The mitzvah to lie.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Say that. That's the nekuda.
Yeah. You see Rebbe making mistakes. Let him finish. Let everything. And then I'm going to knock him out like a TKO. And then I'll rebuild the whole thing. I wanted everybody should know it's mine. What happened with you?
I'm not saying he wants to be the
Oh, my case. I thought that happened to you. You said my case. This is right away. Tell your Rebbe the problem. Let him finish. You don't have to take credit. The Rebbe looks at his Talmud and says, listen, you know me. You know how honest I am. And if I could take I'm not going to take anything that's not mine. Money, actually, it's plenty. However, that guy owes me 100. All I have is one aid. I'm asking you, do me a small favor. Pretend that you're the second aid. If you show up, we're going to get the money out of him. He owes me the money. You know he owes me. And it's true that he owes him. But you're not an aid. Certainly you can't go with him. Very, it's another halacha that could come out from today's daf. Are you allowed to ask somebody a question when you know full well, one of your employees, yeah? You know what your employee did. You know very well. So you call the person into your office, you say, did you do this and this? No, what's his reaction going to be? No. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. L'fnei iver. But it's not l'fnei iver. Midvar sheker tirchak. L'fnei iver is one thing. In sheker, you're causing a sheker to come out in the world. How you do it exactly? You say, listen, I know you did this and this and that. But don't ask him where, I don't know how it applies to chinuch. Chinuch also, you ask your kid, did you take the cookie? No. So maybe chinuch is different. I don't know. But just have that in mind. You're causing someone to say sheker. So as the Gemara, when this Rav wants his Talmud to pretend that he's an aid, that's not distancing himself from sheker. That's a real lie to pretend that you're an aid. Torah says you're not allowed to pretend to be an aid. The case is as follows, which is also awesome. You're going to I want you to pretend that you're an aid, but don't say anything. Stand right next to him like a goylem. You're just standing. That's also wrong. You're doing something that's not 100% yashrus. That's midvar sheker tirchok. Stay away from it. The whole, yeah, I'm not done. The whole, no lie is going to come out of your mouth. Even so, it's awesome. Midvar sheker tirchok. Somebody also won 100. So the guy has a trick. The malva who lent the money says, listen, I didn't just lend him 100. No, I also lent him my car. It happened to me. I lent the car to a younger guy. He was doing some errands for me. He comes back with a massive dent. So I'm like, what's this? He says, it's not me, not me. I said, come on. It wasn't there when I gave it to you. It's not me. Turns out, it wasn't him. He just lent the car without permission to his friend. So he never told me, but somebody came over and he says, don't be upset. I know what happened. He gave it to somebody else. He told me. He gave it. Okay, fine. So what I could have done is, listen, the $100 that you owe me, yeah, you don't owe me 100. You owe me 200. So he's going to say, no. What are you talking about? I don't owe you 200. I owe you 100. Oh, you just admitted to me that you owe 100. So that's a moedim mikzas. Let's go to Bezin now. Swear that you don't owe me 200, and also swear that you didn't dent my Avalon. Or you know who did it. That's it. Now I can get him good on the car. So that's a Gilgal Shevuos. So on the Gilgal part, that's what we're talking about. I could increase the amount. Look, I know something's wrong here. I know there's no dent before he got it. I know there's a dent today. So what's the big deal? So I made him do a Gilgal Shevuos. And then he says, no, so what's the problem? The problem is that he doesn't have the money for it right now. Maybe he doesn't want to do a Gilgal Shevuos. Maybe he wants to pay later. And I'm going to roll in another Shevuos. Once the guy makes one Shevuos, I could put on another one. It's not the right thing. So a guy only owes 100, and this is the question I asked you in the beginning of this year. And this malva, he's not such a nice guy. He claims that you owe him double than you really owe him. So the guy says, listen, why should I admit the truth? He's a liar. And if I admit the truth, it's going to cause me to say a Shevuah. So, achbereno bebezdin. In Bezdin, I'll say, I don't know you anything. When we step outside, reminds me of the famous Maisa with a guy back in the day. I remember clearly like the day, my Safta Leah Shalom, she lived in Eretz Yisrael, and she loved American coffee. You know, Nestle, what is it called? The stuff, with the red cap, what is it? Nescafe. They didn't have it in Eretz Yisrael, they only had Elit. When you came to Eretz Yisrael, you had to bring her one of those. One of those, it was like the greatest gift you could get. Today, they have everything here, that fruity pebbles, the whole thing. So a guy says, hey, could you bring, somebody in, whatever, a thing of Nes? Sure, no problem. So he takes it, and rookie mistake, as soon as the guy arrives in Eretz Yisrael, he starts getting phone calls. Hello, where's my coffee? Where's my coffee? The guy's like, what's the coffee? Then he realizes, So he takes the coffee, he opens it up, and he realizes that somebody tampered with the seal, puts it down on a white thing, pours out the entire coffee, and sure enough, there's some diamonds inside. So he takes the diamonds, puts them in his pocket, puts all the coffee back, and he gives it to the guy. 3.5 minutes later, knock on the door, he says, we had some diamonds in here. Where are my diamonds? He says, what diamonds are you talking about? The guy gave me coffee, I'm giving you coffee. Kids, they go to Nissim Karelitz. They go to Bezdin, the whole thing, and he says, I don't know what you're talking about. The guy gave me a coffee. I'm giving you back a coffee. What's the problem? No, the guy had diamonds in there. Did you say that there's diamonds in there? No, you didn't say. Huh? Hold on. Now I can't use it as a short. Thank you very much.
Start again.
Anyway, so this is going to be a classic. It's going to be a classic. So anyway, the guy doesn't know what to do. They come out of Bezdin, and the guy says, here's your diamonds. Don't ever do that again to somebody. Like, you could have gotten me a lot of trouble. What if they would have stopped me at the Meches? I would have been sitting in jail. Okay, so that's the ma'isa. So, I don't know, according to this Gemara, but he says, listen, you're dealing with a guy, you're dealing with a...
What was the psak?
No, Rabbi Nissim said you don't have to pay. You're not chayav. Why are you chayav? The guy never said diamonds. I'm giving you this. Make this is diamonds there. Maybe somebody stole it on the plane. I don't know. Why is it him? He didn't take a chrais to watch it. And once he got the psak, he's not chayav. And the guy was schwitzing, and this took 2 months to get the bezdin thing. And then you're going back and forth to back. How many times you have to go to bezdin? He got a psak and not chayav. They come outside. He says, "You want your diamonds back? Here's your diamonds. Don't ever do it again."
Mendy never did it again.
It's not so fun.
Hold on, is that okay? To let him sweat?
I don't know. Based on what we're learning now, it's problematic. I want to tell you halacha that I'm over every single day on. And it bothers me, this halacha. I gotta amend the halacha somehow. It doesn't apply to me.
That's gonna be short.
It says in halacha you're not allowed to kid around. You're not allowed to say, "Oh, I'm just kidding." Like you're not allowed to fool people. You're not allowed to to pull their leg for 2 seconds and then that's it. It's midvar shek tircha. You have to start. You guys have to be, help me out. I have a bad habit. My whole life, this is what I've been doing. I went in the middle of the year. I went to collect money from my shver with the whole disguise, and he gave me money, the whole thing. I mean, different things I would do. It's time for the hack. Yeah. Just another one just came through my head. I'm not going to go there. You gotta stay away from a sheker. Yes, he's a bad guy. Yes, he lied to you and he said you owe him double than you really owe. But you're not allowed to say in bezdin that you don't owe him the money because that's sheker. Here's a good one. I'll say the case outside. 3 guys did business with one person. That one person owes the 3 guys $1 million. He doesn't want to pay. They came up with a great idea. One guy will claim the $1 million. The other 2 guys are witnesses that he owes the $1 million. In fact, they know that he owes the $1 million. So they'll just be witnesses. They'll come to Bezdin. We saw that Reuben owes Shimon $1 million. It's a great chap. They're not lying. He really owes $1 million. And like this, the Bezdin is going to be chayiv. You're not allowed to do it. They're not Adam. They're biased. It's a great idea, but you can't do it once again. But it's my $1 million. It's a pellet because you can do din latzma. You could actually go into the guy's house and kind of take it out if you really need to, maybe.
Maybe.
But the sheker part, I hear the sheker part. 2 of them will act as witnesses and say that the guy owes him $1 million, and then afterwards they'll split it. Again, it's a sheker. A guy shows up with what's the fancy suit today? A brioni. Shows a brioni with the Prada shoes, the whole zach. The shoes cost like over $1,000. You know what I'm saying?
No, we don't know.
It says in large letters, Prada. And this other guy, Nebuch, he shows up as from the hand-me-down store, whatever, from the Gemach. So here we even have a thing here. Check this out. This guy he's wearing the chashve itzlas, and the other guy's a smartutim. He has to wear the smartutim. Either you buy the guy the Prada shoes, you have a choice. You have to be on the same playing field. You can't have one guy that has an advantage over the other just by being more chashiv, dressing nicer. It might shut the other guy up, will knock his tightness out. That's basically what we're talking about over here.
Even in cases today, sometimes they bring criminals. They switch their clothes out of the prison clothes into regular clothes.
Of course, they do always a suit and this and a tie. You show up to a judge, all the lawyers are wearing ties and this, and then you show up with something on your T-shirt. It's not good. It's the biggest criminals, the biggest Rishayim, they have tattoos coming down their face and they're wearing the tie, and it's like it doesn't pass so much. But okay, listen. His whole neck is full of this, and he's wearing a tie.
That's the noose.
Yeah, exactly. That's the news. What did I say? Oh. It's worth 100. They tell the wealthy guy, You can't have an advantage. You have a choice. Give him. You buy him clothes. That's the last thing you want to do. Yeah, like you hate this guy. This guy owes you money. He's been schlepping you. You're going to buy him now a new suit, and new shoes, Prada shoes. I'd rather wear shmatis than to buy him a new wardrobe. B'nai Sachar says over here. So we say Luchuna b'nivacha yirma Hashem. Hashem says, let's go. Let's have a dintayr. Let's go. He says, what's pshat? He says, because we have chatayim, so our clothing, you chatayim keshonim keshel yalbinu, our clothing is red. It's full of sin. So you tell Hashem, let's go to dintayra. If we go to dintayra, you're gonna have to give us white clothing. You're gonna have to give us the pure. Oh, so then we don't have a din. Ki have also kamei the Rava baravhuna Amar Lu. Rava would say, get rid of the Prada. Shlufu puzmukaichu v'chusel ledino. Get rid of your shoes. Get rid of your fancy MDY socks. No, nobody has an advantage over here. You have the gold toe socks. That's it. They come in with the simple socks. Nothing chashuv. You're not allowed to hear what the guy has to say beforehand. Why? Because again, it's going to give the guy an advantage. You're going to hear it in a different way. Because we know the concept of, and the Gemara is going to say it again, you act differently in front of the guy that you borrowed money from. All of a sudden, you're one-on-one with the judge. You're going to start saying things that are not so true. Don't listen to the other guy. There's a story with Reb Shmuel Salant. They bring a guy in, bleeding and broken bones. His friends bring him in and say, look what Reuven did to this guy. The Rav needs to do something about it. The Rav should be mechayev him. So, okay, so he tells this guy, he says, go look for Reuven. They find Reuven on the floor. They're doing resuscitation. The other guy, the guy that came to Shmuel, beat the other guy up much more. Like, you have to know the story. You have to know both sides. You can't just hear, okay, yeah, he's bleeding. The other guy has 20 more broken bones. CPR. Don't tell the dayan the story and make it all good. Because again, the guy in front of the dayan is going to say, he's going to say it differently than if he says it in front of his baldin. Says the Gemara of Kahanim Masni Miloi Sisa. So in the pasuk it says Loi Sisa. Loi Sisa means it's talking to the dayan. Don't accept Shem Hashav. Don't accept things that are false. So he learns it Loi Sasi. You could put a patach under the sub. Leisasi Shem Hashav. Don't cause the dayan to say stuff. There's one isser on the dayan himself to accept, and there's an isser on you, the plaintiff, the litigant, to make it easier for the dayan to make a mistake. You shouldn't cause it. You didn't do good within your nation. Rav Omar, Zeh Haba Bahar Shah. What's our Shah? We had it a few times. Our Shah, you see this? It's Muslim and Shas. It means power of attorney. Not so much like we have today, Tayyim Rabbani, but a power of attorney. In other words, don't represent somebody else in court. The Baldin himself has to show up. So Rashi explains why. Says Rashi, you're fighting a fight that's not yours. Maybe the real guy, the original, he's a easier kind of guy, and he'll give in. He'll make some sort of compromise. First of all, this guy doesn't have the right so much to make a deal. He's just coming there to fight. We want the original. Says Taisvus. Says Taisus, he's a tough character. He's a real, he knows how to scream in Bezdin. What are you laughing? Says Taisus, in certain situations, you have to know the situation. Don't be it says in the Gemara, don't be a don't take power attorney. Sometimes when a guy's in another country, he's in Africa and he can't come to Bezdin, you do a power attorney. Sometimes the guy can't, for whatever the reason, it's a mitzvah what you're doing. But in general, you should show up to Bezdin. Don't let somebody else come for you. The Torah Rabbani is the Chazon Ish advised Sheleimah Karel not to be a dayan in Tel Aviv. Rather, you should go to Tzvat. Why? He said in Tzvat they don't really have money back then, at least, to hire a Torah Rabbani, an attorney. So in Tel Aviv, where they have more money, you're going to have an Ibas Hadin. You're not going to be able to think the way you want to think. You're going to have other people, convincing you otherwise. It's better for a straight din to go to Tzvat. So that's one shot. It's Asher Lo Tov Vasa. It's not good. Don't buy real estate that's contested, that people are fighting over it. A Maisa, a true story where a guy had a piece of land in Tel Aviv, also Tel Aviv. Shalom Aleichem, guys in the back. Was that, you're the guy from Haifa? No way. Stand up and say, you don't have to come all the way over here. I just want to see you. Gishma, what's your name? Moti Siegel? Singer. This tzaddik, come over here. Moti, come here. You got to come over here for a second. Come on. He took a bus last week. I don't know what he did now. You came now from Haifa? From Shla. He came a few days ago. He learns in Belz in Haifa, Shalom Aleichem. Took a 2-hour bus from Haifa to Yerushalayim and a 1-hour bus from Yerushalayim to here. Sat in the shir and then went back to Haifa. Got back at 2 in the morning. Wow. You come now. Shkoyach for coming. Mamash Chizik. Shkoyach. It was Kedai. 6 hours. 9 hours? The whole thing, round trip. Rabbi said, you live on this block and you don't even come. And this guy's 9 hours he traveled. Unbelievable. Shkoyach, thank you so much. All right, so, and your friend, what's your name? Viazoi? Shmili Younger? Oh, you're Shmili Younger. Okay. Who else? What's your name?
I'm not new.
He says you knew. Oh, the guy next to you. What's your name? Almost. From?
Switzerland.
And where do you live now?
In Yeshiva here.
Leah Torah. You slept him?
Yeah, we're working at bringing to the dock.
It's a work in progress.
We'll get there.
Givaldik. No, he's nice. He's not new. All right, Zog the Gemara.
You started saying something.
Oh, what did I start saying? Oh, so the guy had a plot of land. And you know what happens? If you leave a piece of land open, all of a sudden this guy builds a little bit of a caravan inside. This guy puts a bedroom in there. Kitzer, it became half the size. So at the Vart, his daughter's Vart, he says, I want to give my daughter and the new chassan this plot of land. This is a few issues. It could have been worth a lot more. And so one of the guests there says, don't worry about it. Where is it? I'll take care of it. So he shows up like the next day or whatever, at 11 o'clock in the morning, shows up with 4 bulldozers. And they start ripping down sheds and buildings and any room that extended into the plot, knocked down. Of course, the cops show up. But he says, okay, so sue me, go take this. He says, well, you're going to start going to court with these guys who did something illegal, came into your land. It's going to take 20 years. First you knock down, and then you ask kashas later. And then he paid for a bed and a piece of furniture. I'm not giving advice. Of course, don't start knocking down people's houses now. My wife's cousin, Mama Shir in Bet Shemesh, her father-in-law is like a big real estate guy. He shows up, he says, why did a guy build right in front of your doorway this whole thing? He says, I don't know, we tried to talk to him and he's not. He came with he rented a little bobcat. Right down. The guy was screaming. Sorry, it's a mistake. Just knocked it down, a mistake. What? Not giving advice. Anyways, oops. So, don't buy a piece of land that's contested. Even though you think that you could get away with it, you're strong. It says in the Mishnah, the Shevuos Ha'edus doesn't work with somebody that's related to you. It doesn't work with the women. It has to be people that could testify. And then the Mishnah repeats, and it only works with somebody that's available to testify. So what did you just add? A king who halachically he's good. He's not your relative. He's not pasal eidos. He's not a ganav, but he's a king. And for a king, we have a special pasuk. What do we have the pasuk? Soim tasim olecha melech. That a melech shemachal kvodim kvodim machal, a king cannot forgive his own honor. Klal Yisrael needs somebody who acts at least bigger and better than everybody else. You can't belittle him and say, "Oh, come to court and testify about a traffic accident." It comes to exclude somebody that gambles, that plays with dice, which is the Rabbanon. According to Rashi, it's a deraisa. So certainly, if somebody that's a gambler can't is not in the parasha of Shevuos Eidos, is certainly not a king. If somebody says, if we say that a king can't, that's because it's deraisa. He could testify. Why? Either because Masari B'Kubya is an asmachta, you don't really want to give the money when you bet and you gamble, and by you taking the money, you're stealing. The other pshat is because a person who gambles a lot of times doesn't have a real life. He's not sheleimah. He's not doing something productive with his life. So let's say a person is a doctor, and he has a shtickle gambling problem at night. So according to the second pshat, it's okay. He's not ActualEyes. Why? Because he's sheleimah. He just has a gambling problem. So, bifnei bezdin, shlei bifnei bezdin. So here, very, very simple. We had a machlokes. If a person on his own swears on his own outside of bezdin, you hear this? Outside of bezdin on his own, is it a Shevuos ha'edus or not? It wasn't in bezdin. When the Torah talks about Shevuos ha'edus, it talks about bezdin. What about outside of bezdin, but you yourself swore? There's something called Shevuos HaPikadon. Here, let me remind the Olam a lot. I didn't believe that people didn't see this. Last night, most of the people didn't even see this. You ask your friend to watch your goldfish. Okay? So that's a Pikadon. You come back, and your friend says, I don't know what you're talking about. So he swears. So you have to swear. This is very, very simple. We don't know anything about mipi atzmai, your own swearing. All we have in the Torah by Shevuos ha'edus, yeah, that's our parak, Shevuos ha'edus. When somebody makes you swear that you know testimony about something that you witnessed, a car accident, you witnessed a guy going through a red light, the Torah talks about bezdin and somebody else makes you make a shvuah. The Torah doesn't talk about yourself making the shvuah, I don't know, and outside of bezdin. But I'm going to show you a chart, it's going to be super simple. In Pikadon we do have that. We have both. We have mipi atzmai, and where is it? Outside of bezdin. So we have a very simple shaila here. One thing is certain, because the pasuk says, this is called Gzeir Shava, yeah? Abrami? This button doesn't work, so I need your help. It says sechta by Pikadon. You see the bottom is talking about Pikadon, the top is talking about Shevuos ha'edus. So we have Gzeir Shava. We're going to learn one from the other and the other from the other. We're going to go from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. We're going to learn one halacha from each, both ways. So, in Pikadon, we know when a person swears himself, it's a shvuah. Where did he do the shvuah? Outside of bezdin. Now here's the question. When I learn the top from the bottom, do I only learn one concept? The person who swears by himself, that's considered shvuah. Where? That I don't need pasuk chaf aleph. That I'll learn from myself. I'll learn from the top. Where? Only in bezdin. Or maybe no, I'll learn, once I learn something, let me learn all the halachas that go along with it. What is that called in Gemara language? Anybody remember? Daimina umina or daimina voki ba'asra. It's traumatic. These words cause trauma, but it's the simplest idea. So let me just show you how simple it is. Here we go. By Shevuos HaPikadon, it says two ideas. First of all, a person swears on his own. You see the guy with the microphone by himself. He decided, I swear I didn't see anything by a red light. Where does this take place? That's already a subcategory. Where the technicalities, where it happened, the pasuk talks about outside of Bezdin. So when I say dumina umina, I learn everything from Shevuos HaPikadon and I bring it over to Shevuos HaEdos. It looks like this. Dumina umina. I learn both things. It's very simple. What does it mean when I say dumina v'uki basra? I learn one thing. I'm going to learn mepiatzmai. It goes like this. Only this. Now, where did it happen? Not mechutz lebezdin. In Bezdin, like Shevuos HaEdos. I'm going to learn the halachas of mepiatzmai from Shevuos HaEdos. Shevuos HaEdos, the Torah talks about in Bezdin only. The Torah doesn't mention anything mechutz lebezdin. So it looks like this. Bebezdin. That's dumina v'uki basra. Let's just continue. Let's do the whole sugya about peh. Now I have the exact opposite. In Shevuos HaPikadon, I don't know anything about other people. All the Torah talks about is mepiatzmai, as we saw before. How do I know in Shevuos HaPikadon the idea of other people making you swear? From Shevuos HaEdos. Where did it happen? Oh, well, Shevuos HaEdos happened only in Bezdin. So, mino, I'm going to learn both halachas. The Shevuos HaPikadon. I'm going both directions. Techto techtos. I could go either way. Or, if I say, it's the same chachamim, but the halacha comes out backwards because one is Bezdin and one is Atzmai. So I'm only going to learn Mepi Acherim. Where did it happen? Outside of Bezdin. Yeah? Over here, it's outside of Bezdin. The same chachamim are going to say it's Bezdin. We're learning Bezdin. Okay. But that's the whole sugya. These scary words, doimino mina, it's a very, very simple concept. I believe, I don't know for sure. I think if I would have started reading doimino mina buki basra, some people start falling asleep then. Now I think we could fly through the sugya. What's the source of the machlokes? So the Gemara says, do we learn both halachas from one place, or we only learn one halacha, but we stay with the original place and we learn the rest of the halachas from the original? Here we have pikadon we have two halachas, and Remei says we learn both halachas. Two things. Just like another person could, how do you say, not inflict a shvuah, impose a shvuah, something like that, on somebody else, chayav. So too in our sugya of shvuah heidos, you could impose a shvuah. Umina, invoke a shvuah. Very good, invoke. Umina, and we also learn another thing. What? Mipiatzma. What did I say? Umina, ma pikadon bebezdin, bein shalei bebezdin. Afeis bein bebezdin. Did I skip? Ma pikadon bein bebezdin, bein shalei bebezdin. Afeis bein bebezdin, bein shalei bebezdin. That's why we have the two. According to Remei, we have both. Rabbanan Sabri dumina buki basra. No, we only learn one halacha mipiatzma. Ma pikadon mipiatzma chayav. Afeis mipiatzma chayav. Buki basra, and we stay right there. Ma mush mipiacherim. Bebezdin nin shalei bebezdin loy. So we go like this. And now we just bring the halacha from within Shevuos HaEdos, which is only inside Bezdin. It says in the Torah, Bezdin in, Shalei Bezdin loy. Daf Amud Aleph, Amud Beis. Turning of the Daf, innovation will see in honor of our sons Kalman Yisrael, learning Sanhedrin Makkah Shevuos with Reb Eli, Adar Global, answering great again questions anonymous in honor of Mark Ashkenazi enough said. Says Gemara Amulera Papa. Even Pikadon Gamrilora Bonon. Says Rav Papa, who told you that they're doing a doimin nomino? Who told you they're doing Xer Shav? I have a much simpler way to learn this. This is one of the easiest Kavachoimers in the entire Shas. If you could invoke a Shvuah on me, then I could do it to myself. I can make my own, I could swear for myself. I don't need your help. Even going on the Rabbanon, the Kolayam Levi the Domino, Elahainu time in the Rabbanon, what's the pshat? The Ma'aseh Kavachoimer. What's the Kavachoimer? Umami Piacherim Chayev, if somebody can invoke a Shvuah on me, Mipiatzme like Kolchkein. Oh, and once I learned that Kavachoimer, or Ma'aseh Kavachoimer, Dayo, love him and Adin Lias Kinidoin, that's also a Muslim in Shas. Dayai. I just, from the source. What's the source? I'm learning if somebody else, Acherim, can invoke a Shevuah on me, so too I could. But wait a minute, the source says, Mamush bebi Acherim, bebezin shalei bebezin loy. It must be inside a bezin. So I learned it from there, so I can't be greater and better than him. Only inside bezin, that's not outside of bezin. Amush bebi atzmoi b'fnei bezin in, shalei b'fnei bezin loy. Okay, so that's his learning. So they say to him, and this we did already, Rabbi Isai. So wait a minute. But you agreed to me that you have to go the other way. Yeah? We're going to learn, check this out. We're going to learn Shevuos Eidos. I'm sorry, we're going to learn Shevuos Epikalim from Shevuos Eidos. That you're asking, that there's a du mino mino, a machlokes, if we do du mino mino. Do we learn both halachas or only one halacha? So if you're already masking in that sugya, you should be masking in this sugya, so you don't need a kavachomer. We're going back to this. What do you mean they don't argue in that? They do argue in that. It says, Gabi Bekad in that sugya. Shevuos Bekad in the Heg is Banashim and Benashim. Shevuos Bekad, we're going to have it in a couple of daf. It applies even with women, non-relatives, even relatives, even people that are apostle eidos, gamblers, ganovim, all these things. And if you do it, if you invoke the Shevuah yourself, even outside of Bezin, and if it's from others, you're only chayiv inside of Bezin. Check out Chachamim. Even Atzmoy, even Shekavar boy, even Acherim, even Shekavar boy chayav. Even outside of Bezdin, you're chayav. How did they learn it? They must have learned it from this. No, they must have said Uki Ba'asra. That Shevuos HaPikadon is outside of Bezdin. So even though I'm learning Mipi Acherim from Shevuos Eidos, I did this, I learned Mipi Acherim from Eidos, but I'm not going to take all the halachas from Shevuos Eidos. I'm going to learn from itself, from within. Mechutz leBezdin. How do they know Rabbanan the Chayiv? Don't they learn it from Eidos? Yes, in our sugi we wanted to learn Shevuos Eidos from Shevuos Epikadim. In that sugi they learn Shevuos Epikadim from Shevuos Eidos, and we are going du mino uki basra. So in our sugi also. So why you Rapapa are you ignoring that fact and you're pretending that there's something new called the Kavachomer? So Gemara says a very interesting answer. Once in a while you see this answer. It says Mahi in Maholek Mishma Mina. You're 100% right. I agree with you. On Daf Lamed Vav, we talk about Dumino, Vuki Basra, and Dumino Mina. But in our sugya, don't tell me that you can prove it from our sugya, because I could say that in our sugya there's a Kavachomer. You're right in general, there is a Dumino, Vuki Basra, and you cannot prove it definitively from our sugya. We'll go weiter. Let's go at least to the Mishnah. So this is a tremendous chiddush in Shas, in the Torah. I shouldn't say Shas, it's in the Torah. Where in the Torah do you find in another place where somebody does something deliberately and he has to bring a karban? But in Shevuos Eidos, Shevuos Bitui, it says the word he forgot, he didn't know. In Shevuos Eidos it doesn't mention it. You're chayiv when you do deliberately a karban. Which karban? You forgot. You made a mistake. What's the mistake? You knew that you know testimony. You saw that you witnessed the car accident. You know it says in the Torah you have to testify. So what was your mistake? I know what I'm doing is wrong. I just didn't realize I have to bring a karban. That's considered a shagig, another bam chiddush. And if you by mistake didn't know, you thought that you didn't witness a car accident, but in fact you did. That was the gewaldige Maisa, famous Maisa that we'll remember for the rest of our life. Two Talmidim argued what did Rav say in Shir, and each one swore that that's what the Rebbe said. One of them was lying, and then they went to Rav. Rebbe, who did you say like? And he pointed at one of them, Rav Kahana or Rav Asi. I said like him. So the other one went crazy. What? I swore falsely? He says, no, libcha nascha. Your heart fooled you. So you see before in our Mishnah that if you thought that you didn't see an accident, but you did, nothing, zero. You don't bring a karban. So it's a Mefurish Mishnah. Why were they? What? They didn't know a Mishnah. Rav Kahana and Rav Asi don't know of Mefurish Mishnah. Even though it says it in before the Mishnah, over there it's slightly different. It says we just established by Shevuos it doesn't say the word v'nelam. It doesn't talk about shogi. So the beginning of shogi didn't mezid. It has to be similar. The shogi has to be similar to mezid. Aval by a regular Shevuos beauty like by Revka and Ravasi. The v'nelam it says, and you forgot. So I would think they're in that category a little bit. I feel he is chayav a little bit. Hamashmalon, that even them, they're not chayav at all. Rabbois, have a great day. A good yontif tonight at 12, and motzei yontif at 10.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.